Dawn Nation, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is when you're listening to this. It is Friday. Well, it's Friday when this episode is coming out. And it's an industry insight, if you like. I'm going to try and do more of these because I like listening, I like learning, I like educating myself, and I like looking what's going on around the world in this industry. And I found this interesting, so I thought you may well do too. I know I was going to do a yearly recap, but I'll have to do that next week because I just saw this article and I thought, wow, it's interesting. So we're talking about Big Yellow here. And bear with me, my reading, as you know, is terrible. I'm dyslexic, so words look jumbled up to me on the page and I can't pronounce stuff. And there's all my excuses anyway. I am shocking at reading, hence the reason why I listen to podcasts and audiobooks. If it weren't for them, I would be one dumb ass git. Because I just can't read. I cannot read. Just the words just do not make sense to me. Don't go in. Anyway, I'm to try my best here. Right, Big Yellow Group PLC on Thursday said revenue was up for its financial third quarter, boosted by rent increases as occupancy slipped. Boom. What a headline straight away. Occupancy slipped, but rent increased. Love it. And when it says financial third quarter, it does state that's their financial third quarter. So I don't want you to think that it's 2022. The third financial quarter is, I don't know, that September, October, November, June, whatever, July, August, September. So that is, when we're talking about yearly, that's the third quarter of the year, but it's their financial quarter. So it's not, it basically ended, the next sentence says it basically that quarter ended 31st. The Surrey, England-based self-storage facilities operator said revenue for the 3 months that ended December 31st was 48.1 million, increasing 6.4% from 5.2 million in the fourth quarter of last year. So revenues have increased 6.4% from the third quarter. So that's the last 3 months ending December 31st. They've increased by 6.4%. And I'll make a link, by the way, in the show notes for this as well. So if you want to read the article yourself, because I can't read very well, then you can go and have a look. The company reported total revenue for the first 3 quarters of the financial year. It says 2023 here, but I'm presuming it means 2022, was 142 million, up 12% from 127 million a year ago. That's mental. So we've all been saying that, I said winter's coming, I said time's getting harder, Big Yellow are still proving very, very resilient, which to me is a massive, massive benefit. Occupancy at December 31st was 80.4%, a decline of 5.1 points from 85.5% a year ago. That's amazing. With 5.1 million square foot being let of a maximum available of 6.3 million square foot. So basically, Big Yellow have got 6.3 million square foot and they have currently let 5.1 million. So their occupancy now is 80.4% and they declined from 85.5 this time last year. That's incredible. That's like a 7% decrease from the original percentage. That is phenomenal. Yet, the revenues have increased. And why? We know already, because of the first line, boosted by rent increases. My friends, if you are not doing rent increases, then you could be in a world of pain because your occupancy is going down. That means your revenue will be matched directly with your occupancy. And we know the occupancy is going down across the nation and in America, across the pond with the big companies. So I've seen it. Your occupancy is going down. Or if not, you are very, very lucky. You're insulated. But the vast majority of self-storage operators are seeing occupancies going down. And the way Big Yellow have navigated this brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly. And by the way, I would love to talk to anybody who works for Big Yellow and let me know what they are doing. And by the way, you will be 100%. I won't mention your name. I won't mention anything. I want to learn more about it. And I won't even put it on the podcast. If you tell me not to put it on the podcast what Big Yellow do, then I will just shut up and I won't say anything. Because I would love to understand more about the rent increases. What does it mean by rent increases? How do you do your rent increases? What what metrics do you do? What do you look for? What's the criteria? How much do you increase by? Oh, it's just storage porn for me, that. I would love to talk to anybody. So hit me up on LinkedIn or deanbooty@icloud.com. And like I say, I learn and I hear so much in the industry that people tell me not to say anything. I can't say anything, and I never, ever will. Because if I betray one person's trust on this podcast, then my name is muck throughout the industry. No one will ever trust me with anything. So I can absolutely guarantee you that I would, anything anyone ever tells me in regards to self-storage and says, don't put it out there off the record, I can't put it out there. I just can't, because I would never do that. Well, hopefully you understand that ethically, I just want to learn. So if you work for Big Yellow, please let me know. Or Mr. Big Yellow himself, then you can always hit me up as well. We can have a coffee. I'll even treat you. Right. So the company said occupancy has decreased by 240,000 square foot in its seasonal weaker third quarter, with a similar loss of 240,000 square foot a year ago. Despite the fall in occupancy, Big Yellow noted that the net rent per square foot was £32.31, an increase of 10% from £29.41 from a year ago. So the rent per square foot has gone up. Obviously, we must know that because the revenue's gone up. Now, this is interesting. This line here, the company said the occupancy decreased by 240,000 square foot, but last year it decreased by 245,000 square foot. So last year was a bigger decrease. However, they ended the year higher. Now, I think it may say something a lot for that along them lines later on, the reasons why. But for me, the reasons why meant that they didn't move as many people in during the summer months, during the second quarter. They didn't move as many people in, so therefore there was carrying less occupancy into the third quarter than there was in previous years, because they've lost 245,000 square foot a year ago, and they've only lost 240,000 square foot this year at the same time, a different year. And that means that even now, last year it was 85.5%, but last year it was 80.4%. So that for me is really, really interesting. Oh, I'm getting a phone call from somebody I don't know. I've left so many messages about self-storages, so I'll answer that in a minute. So that's really, really interesting. The company said the fourth quarter also saw its acquisition of a freehold site in London for 13.8 million, which is currently being let to automaker Renault SA on a short-term lease basis. Chief Executive Officer Jim Gibson. Jim, give us a phone call. Love to chat. We are pleased to have continued to deliver solid revenue growth in a challenging macro environment. The quarterly seasonal loss of occupancy was in line with last year. I told you. And overall, prior year comparators year to date have been strong. Interesting. He goes on to say the fourth quarter last year was impacted by the Russian invasion of Ukraine in February, leading to a weaker occupancy growth than we would have expected. Although it is early in the current fourth quarter, we are seeing a return to growth in net reservations and occupancy. Woo, woo, woo. Boom. By the way, we're not Jim. We're just starting to see the reservations come in, as you guys know, but it's been a bloody tough time. It really has. But we're starting to see it pull around. Now, I was talking to my wife about this last night, this news article, and she said, yeah, but Dean, we're only one-man band. I said, yeah, but we're talking about an average. They've got over 5 million square foot, and that's on average. So it's a massive sample size. So if that's what they're saying, then you can bet your top and bottom dollar. Jesus, Kurt. Then you can bet your top. I don't know. You can bet your dollar. Oh, I don't know. Whatever they're saying is, you can bet that other people, it's in line with the rest of the UK, because what Big Yellow do, I'm sure, will be similar. What the losses they see, the turnaround. So what they see, I think that you can almost set your watch by it, and that is something that we will be seeing as well in the quarters. So, for example, yes, we've seen loss just like them. Obviously, not 240,000 square foot. That is a huge amount to lose, but obviously they're a huge business, a huge company. But for me, the really positive fact here is that the revenue has still increased. It is wonderful to see the revenue increase. And that for me has been the big takeaway from this. Let's see if there's anything from, yeah, so all I have to say is Big Yellow shares were up 1.4%, trading at 1,190 pence per share on Thursday morning London. I think they've got it right, 1,190 pence per share. Or pound per share, I don't know, whatever it is. Not really crystal clear on that. So yeah, we can see that Big Yellow are doing very, very well, and it's great to have an insight like this because it's just confirmed what we're seeing. Occupancy levels are decreasing. However, the revenue, the rent per square foot is increasing, and therefore it's a net positive. So even though we're losing occupancy, the net is still positive. So wonderful, wonderful article. Really enjoyed reading it. And I was going to shout out where I found it, but yeah, I'll do that at a later time. All right, my friends, hopefully you found this interesting and enjoyable, and I love shit like this. Let me know if you like more things like this, because I find it really interesting to see what big boys are doing and little boys, and we can crystallize what the industry's doing. The more data I get, the more then I can analyze it and see if we want to go forward and expand or pull back a little bit. But I think that's a positive article, really positive article. Again, do you know what? I was really nervous about recording this all day because my reading skills are terrible, and I wanted to read it to you. And I think I put a LinkedIn post earlier today when I was trying to record it, and it was just me ballsing up straight away because I was so nervous. I was genuinely nervous about doing it because I don't like reading. And hopefully I've done a good enough job. I feel like I could do a better job, but you get the gist of it. You get the gist that basically occupancy is down, revenue is up, so we're still going to be all billionaires in the self-storage industry. All right, my friends. Love you. Appreciate you. See you later.